Greetings and various assorted salutations. What we're looking at today is a little tour of the next unit, Industry and Immigration, for United States History 2, Fall 2020. We're starting it on week 5. So, from the home page. This module will be opening up later on today on Friday, but the unit will formally begin on, which day is it? Monday. So, moving on through, we will have completed westward expansion today on October 2nd. And now let's look at industry and immigration. This is our second unit. As you can see, the first thing to look at is the unit checklist. When in doubt, always check the unit checklist. The unit checklist contains a listing of all the assignments that are due. Now, right off the bat, you will notice that this is a very short and very fast unit. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the game. So even though there are only really 2 things due on the first week, you will be working on the things that are due the second week much earlier. Because I project the major inventions is a relatively simple activity. Most people will finish that on Monday or Tuesday. The fake book thing, I expect once people get started working on it, it'll come together quite quickly. And then there are a few other things in here as well. But we'll go into a tour of those in just a second. So the way things look, the first assignment you have coming up is Major Inventions. Major Inventions is a relatively straightforward activity. You're looking at a few inventions and then you are answering questions about them. It's a very straightforward, very important activity, but it's a relatively simple one at that. This is the bigger, I guess you could call it a project. It's a fake book. Essentially what that is, well, you can open it here, and I'll pull up the assignment. The instructions for it are on the first few pages. Make sure you're setting your file permissions correctly. But you will select one of these historical figures from the Industrial Revolution, be it an inventor, business tycoon, or there's a few other different people. And then you will be filling in this information. So you kind of have an idea of what one looks like with JFK. You're going to replace your information with this stuff in here. So you'll take out all the Kennedy stuff and put it in. The goal is to make what someone's Facebook might have looked like in here. But here we go, and this is the second page, the info page. And then you'll list your resources where you got your information on this last slide here. And then when you're done, you'll turn this in. This project takes a bit of time. It's a research-oriented thing, so pick a person that sounds interesting to you, and well, build their Facebook profile or fake book. The virtual notebook for this unit, is called the Virtual Notebook of the Industrial Revolution. Let's get a tour of that thing now. Now, you will only need 1 copy of the virtual notebook. I've noticed a lot of students will accidentally download multiple copies. To access the first copy that you make, you need to go into your Google Drive, which there is a tutorial on that, and I think I will post that in the Canvas announcements. I'll repost that tutorial there in this update. But this is what the notebook looks like. Every time you see the title assignment, that is something you need to do to get credit when you turn this in. There's some generic information on how the notebook works in this part here. But then you've got the introduction lecture. You've got with terms, and then you've got big business, how big business is operated in this time period, and details on the resources there. And you've got some terms to look up here. You've got how industry changes society and cities, and you've got some terms here. Then there's a little activity on something called the New South. It'll have you going into the textbook and reading about it and providing a quick little summary. It also offers you some key terms that you need to know. Especially it talks a lot about how people left rural parts of America and went to urban parts of America. And then on this last page, you've got terms that are not covered by the lectures above, but they're covered by the different activities you're doing over these next 2 weeks. And I just wanted to put a space in here so that you would be able to know, okay, I need to know these terms, and here's a good convenient one-stop shop. Remember, the Virtual Student Notebook, the purpose of it is to serve as your study guide for the test. It is your master study guide. By the time this thing's filled out and turned in, you're ready for the test. That's the theory, at least. Going back to the module, these are the lecture resources. They're posted here. They're, as always, they're kind of the same deal. But you've got the lecture. You can watch it down in here. If it isn't working, you can go directly to the YouTube playlist, or if you're still having troubles, under Student Resources and Reference Materials, you can access the lecture videos from the alternative access. They're in a Google Drive, but you do have to be signed into your Google account, which you should be, because that's how you access your Virtual Student Notebook. Alrighty. And then the next activity that's listed here is on industrialists and inventors. Basically, you're answering a few questions about short little biographies on Thomas Edison, John D. Rockefeller, the tycoon, and Andrew Carnegie, or Carnegie. I've heard it pronounced differently every time. Little questions on those, kind of looking at primary and secondary sources and what they did in their lives. Let's see here. The next activity that you have, this is a fairly large activity. It's on immigration and coming to America. There's several things here. There's immigration by the numbers, which kind of gives you some charts and math and kind of statistics. Who's coming to America, how many, and when are they coming. The next two things kind of go into more detail, looking at like what is the process of going through Ellis Island, what is the process of going through Angel Island. And you'll use these materials to do the Immigration Workstations activity, where you're basically answering a series of questions and kind of using this information, thinking about it, and kind of comparing and contrasting the two experiences of the different islands. Another activity in here is the Americans and Cities Change activity, and what this is it kind of builds heavily off of the Industry Changes Cities and Society lecture. What this one does is it kind of goes through and it shows you, looks in more detail on that lecture. So this is a good activity to work towards after you've watched this lecture here. The unit test will appear here when it's time. And then we have one thing that'll be, it's due after the unit. It's just kind of a little activity where it's a simulation, if you can call it that, of what it's like to be kind of like one of the workers on Ellis Island. And it's just a small little activity where you're looking at the work-specific profiles of different immigrants and what kind of is the process of going through Ellis Island. And that activity will be due on the Monday after we complete the unit. It's just a short little thing. It'd be perfect for an e-learning Friday, one of the days in this unit. But that kind of covers the whole unit. It's all here under Industry and Immigration. You may find yourself using the student resources, which I just reorganized. One new resource I want to make sure I point out, if I haven't already done so, is I have put in some online and offline glossaries, as I've heard that some students are having difficulties finding all the terms in the online textbook, and sometimes the online textbook has been giving us some issues. And so I've kind of created some workarounds. And obviously, if you're disconnected from the internet, you can't use the online textbook. So I hope these things help. Please watch this video again if you need a refresher on how this unit is going to work. And I guess I'll see you in class, seeing as we are going to level 1 on Monday, and so all students will be in attendance. Until later.